Hey there, I'm Linda. Before I dive into this crazy story, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. Trust me, you won't want to miss this wild ride. I'm a 35-year-old single mom working my butt off as a nurse while raising my sweet little girl, Harper. We live in a quiet suburb that looks like something out of a Hallmark movie, but trust me, appearances can be deceiving. Harper, sweetie, have you seen my scrubs? I called out as I rummaged through a pile of laundry. They're in the dryer, Mommy. Harper shouted back from her room, probably lost in another coloring book. I swear, this kid has a better memory than I do. Must be nice not having to juggle a million things at once. I've got this sister, Emma, who's been my rock ever since Harper's dad decided fatherhood wasn't his style and bailed. Emma's always there to help out when my shifts run late. Hey sis, any chance you can watch Harper tonight? Got stuck with a double, I asked, the phone wedged between my ear and shoulder as I folded laundry. Of course, Linda, you know I love having my little niece over, Emma replied, her voice warm. Then there's Mark, Emma's husband. At first, I thought he was a stand-up guy, always offering to help out. But lately, something's been off. I can't put my finger on it, but my nurse's intuition is tingling. Thanks for dinner, Mark. You really didn't have to, I said one evening as he dropped off a casserole. No problem, Linda. What's family for, right? Mark responded with a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. And don't get me started on their twins, Jake and Zoe, 6 years old and already acting like they own the world. Last time they were over, Harper's favorite doll mysteriously lost all its hair. Barbie needed a haircut, Mommy, Harper explained tearfully. I swear those kids are going to be a handful when they hit their teens. How about a barbecue this weekend? I suggested during our weekly sister catch-up call. At that park Harper loves with the big playground. Sounds perfect, Emma exclaimed. I'll bring the salads, you handle the grill. Deal, I agreed, already picturing Harper's excited face when I told her. As I hung up with Emma, Harper bounced into the room, pigtails flying. Mommy, can we go to the park tomorrow? Pretty please. I scooped her up, grinning. Even better, sweetie. We're having a big family barbecue there this weekend. Harper's eyes lit up like it was Christmas morning. Really? With Aunt Emma and Uncle Mark and everybody? You bet, I said, pushing down that nagging feeling about Mark. It was probably nothing, right? Just family being family. The day of the barbecue started off perfect, sun shining, burgers sizzling, and Harper's laughter ringing out from the swings. I was chatting with Emma, one eye always on my little girl. So how's work been? Emma asked, sipping her lemonade. Crazy as usual, but hey, that's the ER for you, I replied, flipping a burger. That's when Mark finally showed up, Jake and Zoe in tow. Those two made a beeline for the swings like they were on a mission. Uncle Mark, watch me swing high, Harper called out, all smiles. I saw Mark approach the swings, his face unreadable. Time to share, Harper, he said, his voice oddly flat. Sweet kid that she is, Harper nodded. Okay, just one more minute, please. What happened next still plays in slow motion in my mind. Mark's hand shot out, shoving Harper hard. She flew off the swing, hit the ground with a sickening thud, and let out a scream that made my blood run cold. Harper, I shouted, sprinting over. My baby was curled up, clutching her arm, tears streaming down her face. I rounded on Mark, fury bubbling up. What the hell, Mark? He held up his hands, all innocence. Whoa, calm down, Linda. She must have let go by accident. I saw you push her, I spat, cradling Harper. Emma rushed over, looking torn. Mark, what happened? It was an accident, he insisted, but his eyes were shifty. Meanwhile, Jake and Zoe had already claimed the swings, laughing like nothing had happened. My arm hurts, Mommy, Harper whimpered, and my heart shattered. We're going to the hospital, I announced, scooping her up. Emma touched my arm. Linda, I'm sure Mark didn't mean. I jerked away. Not now, Emma. I need to take care of my daughter. As I carried Harper to the car, I heard Mark behind me. Come on, it's not that bad. Kids fall all the time. I whirled around, Harper still in my arms. Stay the hell away from us, Mark. I mean it. The drive to the ER was a blur of Harper's soft cries and my own racing thoughts. How could Mark do this? How could he hurt my baby girl? In a waiting room, Harper curled up in my lap, sniffling. Why did Uncle Mark push me, Mommy? I stroked her hair, fighting back tears. I don't know, baby, but I promise he won't ever hurt you again. My phone buzzed with texts from Emma. Linda, please call me. Mark says it was an accident. Are you guys okay? I ignored them all. Right now, Harper was all that mattered. A nurse called us in, and I recognized her for my shifts. Linda, what happened? I took a deep breath, steadying myself. My brother-in-law pushed her off a swing. The nurse's eyes widened, and she shot me a look that said, "We'll talk later." As they examined Harper's arm, took x-rays, and eventually put on a cast, my mind was racing. How had I missed this side of Mark? What else had he done that I didn't know about? One thing was crystal clear. I couldn't trust him anymore. And Emma? Well, she'd have to choose her husband or her family. Walking out of the ER, Harper's good arm around my neck, I made a silent vow. No one, and I mean no one, would ever hurt my baby again. Mark had no idea what he just started. But he was about to find out. Mama Bear was awake, and she was out for blood. The weeks after the swing incident were a blur of anger and sleepless nights. I couldn't shake the image of Mark pushing Harper, couldn't unhear her cry of pain. It was like a switch had flipped in my brain, and suddenly, I was seeing Mark in a whole new light. It started when I overheard Harper talking to her cousin on the phone. Yeah, Uncle Mark is mean sometimes. He yelled at me for touching his stuff once, and he always makes me give Jake and Zoe my toys. My blood ran cold. How long had this been going on? The next day at the playground, I casually brought up Mark to some of the other parents. Oh, that guy. Yeah, he's got a temper, one mom said, lowering her voice. Saw him screaming at some kids for playing too close to his car once. Another dad chimed in. He threatened to sue me when our kids got into a scuffle over a freaking juice box. Can you believe it? The more I dug, the worse it got. Mark had a reputation all right, and it wasn't pretty, bullying kids, intimidating parents. He was like a ticking time bomb in khakis and a polo shirt. Then I found out about his job. I ran into his old coworker at the grocery store. Mark? Oh yeah, he got fired for throwing a stapler at the intern. Nasty business. Didn't he tell you? No, he sure as hell didn't, and neither did Emma. Speaking of Emma, she showed up at my door one night looking like she hadn't slept in days. Linda, I don't know what to do, she sobbed. Mark's been different, angry all the time, lying about where he's been. I found receipts for jewelry I've never seen. I think he might be cheating. I held her as she cried, my mind racing. This was bigger than I thought. That's when I decided to go full detective mode. I installed a nanny cam in Harper's room, disguised as a teddy bear. Call me paranoid, but I had to know what was happening when I wasn't around. The next family dinner, I left it running. What I saw when I played back the footage made me want to puke. Mark sneaking into Harper's room while everyone was downstairs. He went straight for her piggy bank, pocketing a handful of bills. My 7-year-old's hard-earned allowance stolen by a grown-ass man. That son of a... I muttered, watching the video for the third time. It was clear now, the swing wasn't an isolated incident. Mark was a wolf in sheep's clothing, and he'd been fooling us all for years. I paced my living room, mind whirling. This wasn't just about protecting Harper anymore. Jake and Zoe were in danger too, not to mention Emma. Hell, the whole neighborhood needed to know what kind of monster was living among us. But Mark was smart, careful. He'd deny everything, maybe even try to turn it all back on me. I needed proof, something so damning he couldn't wiggle his way out of it. That's when it hit me, the family reunion next month. Everyone would be there, the perfect stage for Mark's grand unmasking. I grabbed my phone, fingers flying over the keys as I started making plans. Hidden cameras, strategic conversations, maybe even a few planted situations to trigger Mark's temper. You messed with the wrong mama bear, Mark, I muttered, a grim smile spreading across my face. It was time to show everyone who he really was. As I worked late into the night, plotting Mark's downfall, one thought kept me going. No one hurts my family and gets away with it. No one. The day of the family reunion arrived, and let me tell you, I was wound tighter than a clock spring. Weeks of planning were all coming down to this. I'd set up hidden cameras all over the park, disguised as everything from birdhouses to fake rocks. The playground was wired like a reality TV set. I'd invited every parent and kid who'd ever had a run-in with Mark, promising them the chance to see justice served. They were scattered around, playing their parts perfectly. Emma arrived with Mark and the twins, looking stressed. I gave her a reassuring nod. She knew something was up, but not the details. Plausible deniability and all that. Great turnout, Linda, Mark said, eyeing the crowd. Didn't realize we had such a big family. Oh, you'd be surprised who's considered family these days, I replied, sweet as poison. The trap was set, now to spring it. First, I had little Timmy, whose bike Mark had once run over, accidentally spilled juice on Mark's shoes. You little brat, Mark snarled, grabbing Timmy's arm. Do you know how much these cost? I saw phones coming out, people pretending to take selfies while actually recording. Next came Mrs. Johnson, whose dog Mark had threatened to have put down for barking. She let her poodle off the leash, and it made a beeline for Mark's leg. Get this mutt away from me, Mark yelled, trying to kick the dog. More phones, more candid shots. The final straw was when I had Jake and Zoe's classmate Billy start a water gun fight near Mark's precious car. Mark lost it. He charged at the kids, face red with rage. I'll sue every last one of you little shits if there's so much as a water spot on my car. That's when I made my move. I hit send on my phone, and suddenly, everyone's devices lit up with a live stream from the hidden cameras. Every nasty word, every aggressive move played out in high definition. Emma gasped, staring at her screen in horror. Mark, what is this? Mark spun around, realizing too late he was surrounded. His eyes landed on me, and I saw the moment he knew he was screwed. You set me up, he growled, advancing toward me. I stood my ground. No, Mark. You did this all yourself. I just made sure everyone could see the real you. Emma stepped between us, tears in her eyes. Is this true? All of it? The bullying, the lies, stealing from Harper. Mark's face twisted. They're all exaggerating. You're going to believe them over your own husband. But the evidence was right there, undeniable. Parents started chiming in with their own stories, kids pointing and whispering. Mark, cornered, did what any bully does when exposed. He lashed out. He lunged at me, but in his rage, he misjudged. His foot caught on a raised bit of playground safety mat, and suddenly he was airborne. Time seemed to slow as Mark flailed, tumbling off the edge of the play structure. There was a sickening crunch as he landed, followed by a howl of pain. My arm. I think it's broken, Mark wailed, clutching his limb. The irony wasn't lost on anyone. Same park, same injury he caused Harper. Karma's a bitch, isn't it? As we waited for the ambulance, Emma knelt beside me, her face a mix of grief and resolve. I'm so sorry, Linda. I should have seen it sooner. I squeezed her hand. We both should have. But it's over now. Harper tugged at my sleeve, her eyes wide. Is Uncle Mark going away, Mommy? I scooped her up, holding her close. Yeah, baby, he's going away for a long time. Looking around at the community united against Mark's bullying, at Emma's tear-stained but determined face, at Harper safe in my arms, I felt the weight lift. It was over. We were safe. As the ambulance pulled away, Mark's curses fading into the distance, I turned to the gathered crowd. So who's up for some barbecue? I'd say we've got a lot to celebrate. The story's over, folks. Now I've got a question for you. If you were Emma, would you have stood by Mark after seeing his true colors? Or would you have sided with your sister, Linda, immediately? Think about family loyalty versus doing what's right. Drop your thoughts in the comments below.